The information superhighway can be fraught with disaster for job hunters and consumers. Ebru Today's legal analyst Joyce Hilary joins us today with a look at what you might call the anti-social impact of social media. Thanks, Jackie, for joining us. Joyce, for joining us today. Let's talk about what's happening cyber-wise with social media and its impact.
Absolutely. Well, you know, things have changed. I think we should start out with it. The laws really haven't kept up with the state of technology. You know, when people used to go apply for a job, and still they check their background in terms of their finances, you know, using the major credit reporting agencies like Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. Well, now what employers are doing, they're employing companies to look into the cyber world, to look at, say, their Facebook accounts or their MySpace. But they're not just doing that, and that's only about a third of what these companies, these data collection companies, are looking at. They're looking deep into the web, like any particular blog that was posted, or you know, something perhaps a person may have done innocently years ago and is now coming back to haunt them. And this has been used to prevent people from getting jobs and has been used to unfairly discriminate. Not that there was ever fair discrimination, but you know, we have a Fair Credit Reporting Act in place, and that's there to promote accuracy and fairness and privacy with regard to individuals' information. Have
people been able to use that to defend themselves against what employers or credit negotiators may be using against them?
Well, there was a recent case of a company that was fined about $800,000 for violating the act because they were providing all this information and it was disclosing protected information, for example, information about race, religion, sex, and that's we're not supposed to hire based on those factors. That's protected information, it's called. And people, you know, we talked a while back about Facebook when I was on one time, and I mentioned that even this, and this is a very important factor to reiterate, we think that when we delete something, that it is deleted permanently, and we permanently delete. Well, what's happening now is these data collection companies are collecting our data, and they're keeping it for they're allowed to keep it for 7 years.
Wow.
So they have that information. So even if it's deleted now, they still have it stored and can be improperly used against a prospective employee.
And it certainly makes a difference. If you're 18 and you're posting something and now you're 25.
Right.
That's a whole different person sometimes.
Absolutely, and in fact I have 2 teenage daughters and I caution them all the time, be very careful what you put on there. Even if it looks innocent, if someone can misconstrue it, it could be used against you. And you know, we're even talking about college admissions officers, prospective employers with regard to hiring people and even retaining people.
To your knowledge, has there been any effort to, by any kind of legislative action, to change the law and catch it up to where we are?
Not that I'm aware of at this point, and I think that as we started talking about in the beginning, I think that's been a major problem, that we just can't keep up with the technology. I mean, who would have thought years ago that we'd be walking around basically with computers in our hands 24/7?
So it's changed. The world's changed.
Absolutely.
How do we manage these data collection agencies? I mean, is there stuff that they're not supposed to get a handle on that they get simply because they've got the technological edge?
Well, they're allowed to be in business if they're acting as a credit reporting agency and complying with the Fair Credit Reporting Act. Then it's okay, which means that they can't give away any protected information. And if any adverse decisions are made about a prospective employee, let's say, that person is allowed to be told why that adverse decision was made against them and to be shown the report. They're allowed to ask for that report to find out what it was that was used against them.
Well, how does one know that? How do you find out?
Well, technically, again, we'll just for the purpose of our discussion talk about a prospective employee. They should have to consent to this. All right, they should have to consent to a background check, and many employers have prospective employees consent to that. But again, typically it used to be they would look up their credit report to see, if their payments were on time. They're basically their financial history was good, and prospective employers would use that as a prediction of how they would perform on the job. And now what's happening is they're looking at people's personal lives and perhaps using that against them. Like there was a case where they saw someone who had made comments about firearms, and they didn't hire them because of that. Or a woman had posted not fully clothed pictures of herself. They used that as a way to not hire her as well.
And that's legal?
Well, no, that's really not. I mean, there is one company, I think it's called Social Intel, and apparently they're complying with the act that's in place right now. And as long as what they have to do is they have to what's called scrub the information that can identify the company from using any of the protected information against the prospective employee. So, and really an employer, what a person does with their social life may or may not be a predictor of how they will.
Sure.
But there was an interesting one. They found someone on Craigslist looking for drugs, and they used that to not hire that employee.
Wow, that's an amazing stuff. Wow, we're in an interesting place.
Oh, we definitely are.
Well, thanks for coming on board. Always
Thank you for
insightful.
having me.
We'll look forward to seeing you again.
I appreciate it.